Hi folks, Jimi Needles here. Welcome to my comparison video on the Numark Scratch versus the Mixars Duo. I hope you like it. Check it out. So when I started DJing in the early noughties, you could pick up a brand new, classic flagship turntablist mixer for quite a respectable price without having to take a mortgage out. But as times change, so does technology. Today's flagship Scratch mixers are often a hefty investment, but in return you get dozens of industry standard features on each model, like dual Serato sound cards, supposedly indestructible crossfaders, and performance pads. The price can sometimes deter up-and-coming Scratch DJs from this kind of standard of equipment. So what's on offer these days in terms of Serato-ready, intermediate-tier battle mixers? Let's find out in this video as we look at the key features on the Mixars Duo versus the Numark Scratch. So, starting with the Mixars Duo, out of the box, you get your standard kettle lead power supply, a USB cable, the manual, and of course the mixer itself. Unfortunately, it does not come with its own control vinyl or CDs for Serato, so you'll have to purchase those separately, but at this point it's important to mention that actually both mixers come with a full copy of Serato DJ Pro, which is great, which means you can get to work, start DJing with it straight away, providing you have the control vinyl or CDs. It becomes immediate that Mixars have crammed a heck of a lot of features into the Duo. What first caught my eye was the front panel and the sheer amount of control they give you to tweak the faders. Amazingly, there are curve control and reverses on all faders, and not only is there a contour control for your crossfader, but there's a cut-in adjustment too. This is usually something you see on flagship battle mixers, so it's a welcome and very useful feature as we can totally customize the mixer for your style of play. So moving on to the mixer surface itself, you can see that with the design they've thought about the busy Scratch DJ and kept other knobs and mini faders well clear of the main faders. At first glance the faders themselves all seem good, but of course there's only one way to tell if they're really going to meet my own criteria, and that's by having a quick cut. I'm really impressed with the crossfader. It's got a nice sharp cut. I think the curve control is the real deal breaker on this mixer. It's really good. I like that they've thrown in a filter on each channel too. The resonance isn't too harsh, and it's handy to have a good go-to effect when cutting and mixing. For me, one of the only gripes of this mixer is the positioning of the sample pads down each side. They're not really in keeping with where most DJs expect them to be nowadays, but nonetheless, I really like the toggle between the cues and the sampler. It's simple and you know where you stand. And of course, there's far less chance of you accidentally cueing the top of the song that's playing instead of hitting the air horn sample live in the club. The rest of the mixer itself is fairly standard: 3-band EQ, channel gains, easy to navigate cue section, plus booth and master outputs. But the last thing to make this mixer really stand out is the inclusion of a USB hub. If we quickly look at the back panel, you'll see that there are 2 USB inputs. Instead of having a half dozen USB cables flailing from your laptop, you can connect and unlock the potential of other Serato official accessories. 2 models that come to mind are the Reloop RP8000 Mark II turntables and my favourite, the mighty Rain 12 battle controllers. Both would make really good partners with this mixer. What makes the Numark Scratch stand out? At the 2019 DJ show in Newbury, I was lucky enough to get my hands on it and demo the mixer before it was commercially released, and I was impressed. The Numark Scratch, being the newer of the 2 models, also surprised me with how many quality features they managed to squeeze onto it. Much like the Duo, straight out the box it's a no-frills situation. Mixer, USB cable, power lead, manual. No DVS vinyl to be found here. And unlike the Duo, the front panel consists of only dual headphone outputs. It is good to see both kinds of headphone input, especially if you lent your last adapter to the warm-up DJ who's now vanished without a trace. Fader control is much more basic when compared to the Duo, however, but what you lose in control you make up for quality, as the Numark Scratch boasts an inner fader, and as expected, it's responsive and buttery. Check it out. can tell just instantly that this mixer has been designed again for the Scratch DJ in mind. The lower half of the faceplate is completely devoid of irritating buttons and knobs that could get in the way of the busy Scratch DJ. Disappointingly, and this is my only gripe with the Numark Scratch mixer, there are no upfader contour curve controls. This has the potential to put off quite a few DJs who use the upfader in the majority of their scratches. In my opinion, the Q and performance buttons are in more or less the expected space, and switching between Q performance, sampler and roll is very easy and quick using this button right here. Where this mixer really shines though is in this section right here. 6 go-to effects, which unlike the Duo are post-crossfader. The dual effects paddles, which are the new standard on the flagship mixes we see these days, are a welcome addition too. The Numark Scratch also includes 2 of the warmest filters I've ever encountered on an intermediate tier mixer. These sound great. And when combining the filters with the full 3-band EQ kills, it makes frequency sweeps all that more enjoyable. The rest of the mixer is again pretty standard, but there are no exciting features on the back panel, no USB hubs this time. Both mixers have the capacity for just the one USB sound card for Serato. This means that only one laptop can be plugged into the mixer at any given time. So to conclude guys, both mixers are geared towards pretty much anyone who's a Serato based turntablist, but it's not a question of which mix is the best, it's which mixer kind of fits your needs as a DJ. I think that the Mixars Duo is aimed at the more serious Scratch DJ because of the sheer amount of fader control and control over the fader dynamics. Whereas I think the Numark Scratch is, it's got good faders, but is kind of aiming to be a more all-round mixer, emphasizing, effects and high quality filters, that kind of thing. So 2 extremely versatile mixers in the intermediate range. I hope you found this comparison helpful, and if you have any questions, hit us up in the comments section. Don't forget to like the video and please subscribe to the DJKit.com YouTube channel. Ciao for now.